Hello.
It felt like that was the right way to start. Hey, everybody, welcome to Adobe Office Hours. This is the show where my friend Nick and I get to hang out, teach you stuff, and we all get to level up our careers together. Today, we're going to be doing some fun stuff that we need your suggestions for. So, we're going to introduce ourselves, and then we're going to pass it over to you, chat, which is crazy. My name is Andrew Hochradel. I run Hoch.co. A whole bunch of things: brand identity designer, performance artist, typographer, whatever you want. I'll do it as long as it's creative. And over on my other side here is my friend
Nick Longo. Come
There
on
we go.
down.
That's it. We've
Just
gotten good
sounded
at just
right.
like finishing the sentence. Like
It's
we've
very
nailed
good.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like season 2. We should be
Yes.
there, right?
Yes, that's true. That's true.
I'm based in Los Angeles, graphic design, branding specialist, and I teach at the one and only Cal State University Northridge. I see a few folks in the chat room. What is up, everybody? Glad to be back.
CSN?
CSUN.
CSUN. Oh, CSUN. Yeah, CSUN. I
Hey.
like that. Cool. Well, welcome back. And hey, Cody, thanks for dropping the
Thanks,
links in there
Cody.
to Instagrams. If anyone's a Lady Gaga fan, I just made a new piece for the 911 short film that launched today, so go check that out. All right, chat. Here's what we're doing today. I'm gonna let Nick explain it, and then I'm gonna give you your instructions. Also, let me know with the audio levels. We're having weird issues, so if it gets crazy, let me know and we can fix it. Nick, what are we doing today?
Today we're going to do some design sprints, and we're going to be looking to you guys to give us some ideas on what to actually do. And we're going to spend about 20 minutes each live showing you kind of just how we would probably, what are those first few steps? What would we do with a very quick creative brief?
Yep. And so today is basically made so that usually it's us giving you advice and giving you direction, and really just telling you what to do with your process. Today we're going to flip it, and you guys get to be the teachers. You are office hours today. We are your students, and we are going to learn from you, as well as teach you at the same time. What we're going to do is you're going to give us a brief, a concept, an idea, and then we are going to have 20 minutes, start the clock and hit it, to create something on that 20 minutes. You're going to watch us work our process. We've talked about this before. You need a creative process that can be a month, a week, a day, or even an hour. And in this case, 20 minutes. You're going to see the core of our creative process as fast as it can. We have nothing prepped, no ideas. Literally, we're going to do it live. And we're going to talk through so that you can understand what the concept is and how we're thinking. And that's the big part. And then we'll come back at the end and talk through how we use our processes and maybe how you guys can implement this in your process. Nick, what's our homework going to be for today?
So today, what you're going to do is kind of very similar to what we are doing. You're going to take 30 minutes and you're going to pick a challenge to do in 30 minutes. Super quick, time yourself, throw it up on your phone, give yourself 30 minutes, and you're going to try something. We're going to have a few ideas at the end to kind of get you inspired on what to do in case you can't think of anything, but it should be fun.
It should be really fun. And if you want to join our semester, right here, bit.ly/fall semester-AL, that is where you can get post all of your homework in our Discord. There's a thriving community there. We're growing, and that's where you can post your homework, especially this week as you're making whatever you want. Just make sure you do it in 30 minutes. If you want to, you also can see all of the... Oh, I hit the intro button again. My fingers are all kinds of crazy today. You can also find the link down below me, bit.ly/Adobe Office Hours is where you can find the syllabus and get all the information about the class, as well as get presentations from the last few weeks.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, do we just jump in? What's going to happen here? Let's do that. Do you want to go first, Nick, or do you want me to go first?
Sure, I'll go first.
Okay, cool.
And yes, knuckles cracking right now.
All right,
geez.
so Nick's going to go first.
I'm about to show I'm a complete fraud.
Yes. And chat, what I want you to do right now is start dropping in concepts, ideas, inspirations, whatever you want in there, and Nick's just going to pick something out of chat.
I feel like making a logo or doing some typography logo treatment.
Cool.
Maybe
So yeah,
the name of a fictitious company and tell me a little bit about it.
Cool. Yeah. So name of some kind of fictitious company, say a little bit about it. And while we do that, I'm going to show you guys the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenges are going on here, behance.net/challenge/illustrator. Every day at 11:30, our friend Paul Tranny is giving those. Next week is his second week wrapping those up. And then the week after, I'll be back and we'll be doing an Illustrator world tour, going to a lot of destinations around the world and creating some cool stuff. All right. So the suggestions are going to start rolling in.
I love it.
Keep them coming. Some good ones. Keep them coming. And what's going to happen is I'm going to switch over and I'll show Nick's screen and I'm going to interview him during his process.
Yes. So I like a few of these. We got Scientific Barbershop, Whimsical Donut Shop, Thank you very much, Steven. You're giving me some good ideas there. I like
Yes.
those. Squirrel rescue habit. Maybe habitat, I'm assuming there. Logo for a high-end candy store. Ooh, that's a good one. I kind of like that idea.
All right.
Uh,
What's the idea?
let's do it. High-end candy store.
All
Give
right.
me
High-end candy store.
what are we calling it? Lux something or
Yeah.
let's see. What do you think?
I think you get to pick it. So let's
Okay.
start. Let's start your process,
Yeah.
and you'll go through the whole thing. So I'm gonna switch over to Nick's screen, and
Yeah.
we can see right there. He just has company name up on the screen.
I'm
Love
done,
it.
guys. Look at that.
And so you have 30 minutes until exactly 1:06. Oh, sorry, 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
20
Yes.
minutes till 2:56.
All
Go. And just walk us through, what are you doing initially? What's the first step in not having a name, not knowing really anything?
Okay, so let's say a company came to me and said they have this luxury candy idea. I would ask a little bit more questions. Let's say, Andrew, you're the client. I'd be like, what made you want to even decide on something high-end luxury as your candy brand or your candy store? What would you say?
I would say
Give me some
that
things.
I just want it to be expensive. I want it to be luxe. I want it to be high end and like a good value, so people know that it is something that is luxury.
Ooh, okay, good. I think we got a few good ideas there. We got like luxury pops. That kind of works. Pops luxury candy. How about maybe the whole idea of pops kind of being, you know,
It's like a fancy butler.
yeah,
I love
fancy,
that. I love
you
that.
know. And
Yep.
so we're talking retro. Now we're skipping the whole obviously presentation or research phrase and sketching.
Yep. Totally.
So we're going right to some stuff here. I have a few fonts that I know, like we could try something in that zone of a signature. I have this one that I really think might be a cool one for like pops, where I want it to be retro. I want it to be maybe kind of vintage in a way, something very cool and unique like this. This is called Rumble Brave, and I believe it has one or two. I've even got like the old one. What do you? So I'm thinking probably more of this inline would be kind of fun, right?
Yep.
Something really cool, like unique like that. So Pops luxury candy is what we're gonna call it, right?
Cool.
So
And I love what is happening with the process as you're working, and you can keep working as I
yeah,
talk through this.
go for it, man.
I love that you have fonts in your head that have specific voices. I do that all the
Yeah,
time. That there are fonts I use for certain projects or something that I'm like, man, this feels vintage and old. It feels like it's from this time period. It
yeah,
feels like this kind of like area that I'm in, like I'm entering some kind of space. And you just
yeah,
mentally tuck those away. So for those of you watching, as you're looking through fonts, as you're browsing Adobe fonts, as you're just looking at stuff, if you find something that feels like it has a lot of character or a certain voice, bookmark it in your mind so that when you are doing something quick like this, he knew
yes,
exactly, like, here's 5 fonts that I can throw in here
yeah.
because I want it to feel like this cool, classy butler man.
Exactly. So I need a corresponding maybe font that's going to be, this is one of my favorite things to do is font pairings. Like when you have a font that has so much character, like let's say Pops does your secondary font should probably be somewhere in that zone of kind of nice and with something about it, but you don't want it to compete. Like if I have two inline fonts, it might be a little bit too much, right?
Yep.
So usually what I'm going to do is just kind of go through. If I don't have anything that comes to mind offhand, I know luxury is probably going to be a little bit smaller than pop. So I want to make sure I'm not doing too much of a delicate font. I want to find that font that's like, gosh, I mean, even if I just started with this here and start figuring around how this would actually work together. Let's see. I'm a big fan of like different letter spacing. So if Pops is going to be really close together, maybe luxury is going to be a little bit kind of like this.
Yep.
One thing we're doing next week, I should mention, is on our Deeply Graphic Design Cast. We're doing a huge typography one, and we're going to talk about font pairings. And we have a font company that's going to be helping us out, and we're going to have a whole online project where people are going to get in there and do something. So it should be fun. So here I'm going to go back to this for now. I'm going to just mess with like the kind of my letter spacing a little bit. And what I'm doing is I'm just putting my insert here, and with Option and the arrows, you're able to kind of manipulate and change. So at this point too, I think I want to do some kind of a flag banner with this stuff, but only for Pops and maybe luxury. So I'm going to do them together with an envelope distort. I'll probably pick something in this zone, you know?
So
kind
we've
of
talked
getting
about
it
this
retro.
a bunch of times on the stream too, is experimenting with Illustrator and finding what all of the mesh is doing the daily creative challenges and learning those
Yeah.
concepts. It
Yeah.
just builds out your creative pantry. And so Nick right now knows, like, oh, I want to have that vintage kind of swoop. I know that I can do that with a mesh. I can do that with an envelope distort. I can do that with a
Exactly.
warp. There are so
Yep.
many different ways to do that to accomplish that feeling and that vibe he's going for.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
it's so important for you guys as you're trying to build stuff, especially speeding up your process, have
Yep.
all of those in your brain of what are the tools I can use to accomplish those effects.
Exactly. So I thought maybe it'd be cool to have like a little line here. So I'm just going to, the cool thing about that envelope distort is wait until you have all of like your elements kind of lined up and ready to go. So I'm actually using an eye of that font to see if I can make something kind of cool like this, where it's like the little accent piece or something like this,
Yep.
because it has that cool little bevel in there. I'm just going to mess around and see if this works. I'm going to probably try to line it up to be somewhat along the lines here. And I think this, after I tried that, I'm going to try it. There you go. I'm going to try it like that.
Cool.
Okay.
And yes, Nick just floated across the screen because I moved him to the other side. So
I
I also look like I'm just a tiny little man next to you now. Let's make you a little bit smaller.
Here's another thing I like to do. I'll just duplicate really quick. Keep one live before I do anything kind of remotely weird to it.
Yep.
So let's go back to that. And there we go. So I kind of like that idea. We got, this whole idea of kind of like, I feel like this is something you'd see at a vintage place. We could try doing just a cool, simple arc this way, where it kind of feels cool. I'm thinking already ahead, like, am I going to add pops? Or am I going to add some kind of a Lollipop logo somewhere here, maybe intersecting, or maybe somewhere down below here? The neat thing about this kind of idea is it does give you that empty space below to maybe do 2 lollipops or something kind of unique or cool, right?
Yep. And yes, Colby, using the eyes is a really great idea, 100%. So a lot of times when you're doing type-based logos, if you need accents, if you need things to fill in, use the O's, the A's, the I's, use those as accents because it keeps it on brand. It keeps it in the similar zone.
Exactly.
You just pop out different elements of there.
Yeah. So I know I'm going to probably want to do something in the pop zone. So I'm just going to start messing around with some ideas for like what would be, and this is a great place to put maybe the P in there as the signature lollipop or something. So I think for now, I'm just going to do something. I'm trying to think, what is the bottom kind of the, what does that thing look like where it's like kind of the wrapper?
Oh yeah, just, the little wrapper. That's a great idea. Stephen Overturf says maybe the apostrophe can be a hard candy.
Oh, yeah. All right.
What does a lollipop look like? Oh, it's got the little wrap thing.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of something. I could have, and sometimes I'll go right to just do a quick search and take a look and see. But sometimes what I like to do too is challenge myself and be like, what does it kind of look like on its own, right? What is that vibe? I know this is going to be kind of small, so maybe I'm not going to make it too skinny of a thing. And then what I'll do is I'll just grab everything and where's my align tool? There we go. Just see how it looks. So I've got something kind of cool here. Maybe what I'll do now is because I have that one live version here, I could take this, and I know Rumble has a solid because I just want to use the solid for that. Here we go. I will ungroup that, and now I have this cool P that I can maybe put in there and do something cool.
And yeah, always have a copy that is like 0% touched. Like always have a copy of whatever you're starting with that is not changed at all.
Exactly. And I like doing black and white first just to kind of have some idea of like how this is working. Does it look cool? Before I've done anything in color, I like to have at least one good comp that I'm feeling is kind of like cool and unique, right?
Yep.
So try the whole idea here. Maybe,
and I like to not have things in color.
Yeah.
It's just period.
I'm just doing copy front and then like a cool little thing like that. So I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. It might be a little bit of a distraction. Might need the famous established 2020, which we all, when we're feeling like there's a blank somewhere in our in our design.
Yep.
Give me something else.
What's your intuition there to kind of say, oh, this kind of stacks here. Oh man, we need something over here. What are you looking at?
Oh, it's just like, again, I like to pull away. Like if I can't get behind and just get away from the screen a little bit, I'll do a really bad zoom like this just to see, is there something shouting out? Do I have some negative space that kind of needs a little bit of something there, right?
Yep.
So instead of established 2020. Maybe give me some idea of what else we can put. I'd love to put a little bit of text here. Maybe it's like,
Tagline or something. Chat, can you
yeah,
give us a
but like,
tagline? Some kind of like
something I can
tag.
split evenly, right?
Yep.
So like, this is a good part where you as the designer can recommend something to your client that's going to be something unique that they didn't even think of, right? So like, let's say we say, Pop's Luxury. Oh, candy. We can do candy store.
Oh yeah, that actually is
Right?
probably a good match. Yeah.
That's not bad. Now, I don't like it in that font. I think it's not the right one. So I'm going to go back to, what did I use? There we go. And then for this one, since it's a lot lower or smaller, I'm going to make it even a little bit bolder. But then again, my favorite friend is giving that a bunch of letter spacing. Trying to fill. What I want to do is maybe line it up with the P here, like that.
And then just fill.
Exactly. And then and I just saw there's some amazing updates. I haven't updated to the latest Illustrator, but I got something yesterday that showed me all these new type kind of control features that are on the newest Illustrator. I don't know if anybody's downloaded those yet.
Cool.
But
I have
look
not.
at that.
Oh,
it works.
Magic.
Oh yes. Wait, she's right. Candy shop. Totally better, that. Elizabeth.
Yep.
With the double P. Look at you.
Yep. It's gonna throw off your spacing a little bit, but
that's okay. Okay, so let's see. So if I'm gonna go, let's go give myself a center line here. Big fan of making sure. I'm so optically, I can't center anything on screen. Yep. Like I literally, look how far off I was. So let's get that here. So
you got about 10 minutes left, Nick.
All right, cool. So here, I'm just gonna go, for now, let's see, are we lined up? Good, cool. So I'm feeling kind of like this looks pretty good, right?
Yes.
What about, I think someone mentioned something about doing something cool for that.
The apostrophe?
I'm gonna expand this, right?
Just make a copy.
Yep. Oh, you're right.
I got nervous.
Oh my gosh. There we go. All right, cool.
Yep. So and sorry, in your process, where are we heading next? What's in your brain? Like, what are the next steps?
I'm already thinking of colors that I'm gonna start looking up. And so like what I'm gonna do too is like, let's go to here. I know I have some really cool color palettes that I've saved in the past here. So I'm looking for that maybe old vintage kind of, look at this, like vintage baby 2. This was on Adobe Color. So I'm just gonna add it to my add theme to swatches. So now I've got it. So was there some idea about doing something? What was the idea about doing something with the...
Maybe making that a lollipop, but we already have a lollipop, so it may not be something,
Gotcha. So I'm gonna look at these colors and kind of think, what's my signature color going to be? Like, think of Starbucks, think of Cheerios, think of Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. They have that signature color that's either the one that they use mostly, and then everything else is like is a bit of an accent, right? So if I like this kind of color, and then let's go with luxury, maybe it goes to this blue. Again,
Chad is very excited about gold happening.
Ooh, I think it's going here maybe. Let's see. Oh, damn. And then like this is looking cool. So this can be here as well.
You know it's good when Nick starts swearing on stream.
Did I almost? I did not, did I?
You did!
I didn't swear. What did I say?
You got it. You got one strike. We'll put a dollar in the swear jar.
Oh geez. All right, cool. I thought I stopped before I said it.
That's how you know it's good.
Okay. So I'm kind of digging where this is kind of going. And maybe here's another quick tip. If I take this and duplicate it and do the edit color, is like this great new kind of idea where you can go right here. Now I can edit. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lock my values. And then with this color wheel, I'm just gonna turn it around. And I'm starting to get all of these different variations of what I can do. Or do I just wanna make it a lot darker? Or do I want to actually make it a lot lighter? If the client thinks like it's looking too dark, sometimes a very quick way to do that is just by doing that. You see what I mean?
Yep.
So this is cool. I kind of like where this, I still think this is looking good. We could try a different combination of those. I would say, let's grab that up here. I'll make it a little bit smaller.
That's funny. We sense Nick getting nervous.
Yeah, really?
5 minutes left. 5 minutes left.
Oh, geez. All right. This is like, I do this in my class, and the only rule is that you should have something finished and ready to go, right?
Yep.
Like, it's not amazing. It's not the best work you're going to do, but if anything, it's one of those things where it's presentable and it looks cool. So I think I want to try something different. I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to make these guys the blue. as that
And
last minute thing. Keep going if you guys have anything
while
else. Yeah.
while he's wrapping this up, chat, we have 5 minutes. I'm gonna take over right at that 5 minute mark, and then we'll come back and talk about both of these. Chat, I need suggestions. Give me concepts, give me ideas, give me proper
Yeah.
nouns, give me anything, and I'm gonna pick one, and I'll make a thing for it. I love that that's the takeaway, is like, what are we doing today? Like, you're
There you go.
saying something, and then
Cool.
I'm making a thing. So yes,
Okay.
so
Awesome.
get those suggestions in. And Nick, where are we going to wrap up in these next 4 minutes? What's happening in your brain to
I want to build
prioritize?
myself a little bit of a box. I want to give
cool.
it something kind of cool here. So I usually I outline it as simple as that, all of my stuff, and then I will go to path, offset path. We'll make it 0.2. Take a look. That looks good. We'll get rid of this guy. So I'm like, I know that's kind of in proportion to it, but maybe what I want to do is have those sticks are going to break away from it. And then the only other thing I want to do here is maybe, I'll do envelope distort. Why not? It should probably keep the same thing I had. And I'm going to make just the upper arc. So that one there we go. It usually keeps the same percentage that you did in the past, which I did that arc. So I'm going to expand that. Boom. And I'm getting, how much more time do I have?
You have 3 minutes.
Oh, perfect.
Yep.
Sweet.
And there's some great suggestions coming in, chat. Keep them coming. So far, my favorite one coming in is Ghost Hunters. So keep giving suggestions.
Cool. So I'm going to do one more with a path offset. And this one's going to be a little bit less, 0.1 here. And then I'm going to give it some stroke a little bit more. There we go. That's looking cool. And then we got to fix this little guy. So I'm just going to take these guys here. I'm going to expand them really quick. Oops. Cool. So now they're fills. I should have made a dupe, but that's okay. I'm going to grab these two guys and offset. Cool. That looks good enough. Let's extend these down a little bit here. I'm just trying to make a perfect little cutaway for those sticks.
Can we definitely do a commercial for this where we do like a play on the 50-cent candy shop, but it's just like luxury candy shop, and but it's just like somebody like singing it, like it's like the like Education Connection commercial from like 20 years ago.
Totally. Yes. And I'm gonna minus back. Perfect. There we go. So maybe probably don't even need the little guy in the middle there, huh?
Yes.
Or maybe I think I can mess around with this. Whoops, a little bit more. You know what? I'm not gonna be too picky. That's kind of first one. There we go.
All right. So Nick got it done in about 20 minutes. So yeah, meander on your process and think about what your process is, Nick. And you can actually pop over to the stream and watch the stream because you won't be able to see my screen. And I'm going to flip over, and in about 2 minutes here, we're going to start my time. I'm going to go ahead and bring up some
Did you pick something yet?
I did. So I'm picking Ghost Hunters, but it is a business of ghosts that hunts people. Okay. So they are like ghost hunters. So we're gonna play around with that. And I'm probably gonna use Adobe stock. I'm gonna be creating like a not necessarily like a logo, but like a promo social image.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
So or maybe it's like some kind of like promotional card or something, some kind of graphic like that. So we'll give it 1 minute, and then I'm going to pop over. And again, yes, you can get all the homework and assignment for this week down here at bit.ly/Adobe Office Hours.
Let's see.
The homework is to go over and make something in 30 minutes. So we're giving you a little bit of extra time. 30 minutes is going to be your time. And when that time hits, I'm just going to start talking and walk you guys through what's happening in my brain so that you can kind of see the thought process on how I execute my process very quickly to do something like this. So
am I going to be able to see yours live, or do I have to see it on the replay?
You'll see it on the replay.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to stop sharing the
Oh, you can leave leave that up.
Leave it up.
Yeah, just leave your share up.
Okay. Where is that?
All right. I like that people are still tagging. Go with Ghost Hunters. All right. I promise I'll do it.
Let's see. Share. All right, cool. There we go. Where's my Illustrator? There it is.
Got it?
All right.
All right, cool. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to switch over to my screen. Boom, here we are. Nick is floating over in the corner. And immediately, I always go to cognitive associations, right? Like word association. So I'm thinking ghost hunters, but I'm thinking of ghosts that hunt people, right? So we've got like targets. We've got arrows. I'm thinking like dangerous game. I'm thinking like a literal Edgar Allan Poe, like sort of culty because it's like ghostly. Definitely in that like 1950s, 1960s, like sci-fi with like wiggly letters that come down, right?
Yeah.
So like it has them and then like the letters kind of like wiggle down. And so I'm going to play around with a type pairing, and then I'm probably going to take to Photoshop to make something. I want it to be super gritty, very ghostly, almost like it's faint in the background. To be fair, I was playing with a technique that I'm probably going to use today, and literally you can watch the stream from this morning. This is something you guys should do. I went in and I was like, let's just play with every effect in Illustrator and just played with it, and now I have an actual application for it. So I'm going to pop over here and again, in my brain, I already know what font I want to use. I want something that's tall and that feels like chunky. I'm thinking that this would be something that like you'd put on a t-shirt that would just like punch you in the face. So I'm gonna go with the Trade Gothic kind of super thick, super heavy kind of font. And yes, Giratima was there. It's going to be Chrome text, but we're going to make it ghost text. So
ghost
text. It's going to take that concept of like the Chrome text that I was working on this morning,
nice,
but then push into a different zone. So we have, oh man, I always use the hotkey for symbols.
Do it.
All right, so we have Ghost Hunters. This is kind of the type that I want, big, bulky, and bold. And then from here, we're going to do a couple versions of this. First, I'm going to do one that is this way. And let's try to play and see if we can get the bottoms of these to get really wonky and weird.
Cool.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the entire bottom of this. I'm going to copy, paste in place, and then we are going to cut using Pathfinder, cut out the overlap here. That didn't work. Let's make sure I'm hitting all the right hotkeys here. Oh, I ungrouped it? Oh, you guys, I'm off to the roughest start possible. All right.
Come on now. No pressure.
I know.
By the
no
way,
pressure here.
I'm just sitting back going, ah.
I know. Nick's like all excited. So let's do the overlap. All right. So we got that down there. I'm just going to pull this. And what I want to do is I'm going to go into a zigzag. So I know that I want it to have that wiggle. And so we can go to zigzag right there. We're going to set it to smooth. That. And it will get that kind of weird zigzagginess. The size I don't want to be too much, and I don't want it to be super zigzaggy, just a little bit.
That's one of those things that I think I found by accident when I was making the zigzag, and then you hit the smooth.
Yes,
you get the perfect wave, controlling it perfectly how many you want. I love it.
Exactly. So I want to make sure that it's still legible and readable. It's not quite right now. So I'm going to kind of play around with some of these forms and make sure that it is legible. So we're going to go in here. We're just going to, we are going to expand so that we have all these little wiggly wonkies. And I'm actually going to grab the eraser tool in Illustrator, which I don't think a lot of people use, and kind of erase just some of these details that are getting a little bit too wonky for me. And in this process, I know that I want it to be kind of wiggly and crazy. So I'm not paying attention to making things perfect. Again, if you have a process that you want a specific style or emotion, you have to remember that it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be exact. It can be kind of not great as long as it has the, you know where you're going with it, basically.
Yeah. I like the little, the negative space things that are happening naturally. It's looking really, it almost is creating like what feels like little ghoulish icons and stuff in between.
Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this in and I am going to just combine these two. And from here, I'm going to start playing with effects. I know that I love using effects in mine. I'm actually going to use Photoshop effects and then trace it down. I want it to feel faded, right? We want it to feel a little bit ghostly. So I know that I want to go in here, and to get the ghostly kind of like wobbliness, I'm going to go into artistic and do plastic wrap. This is a great effect, and it's going to give me kind of this wobbly wobbliness, I guess, that I want in here. So it'll give me just a little bit of glow, and it puts that gradient right in the middle, which I want like flashlight kind of thing. And then from here, I'm going to go in and I'm going to toss another effect on top of it. And this is how you get really interesting stuff sometimes, is stacking effects, and you have to know what they do. So next I'm going over to Chrome, and this is going to make it like wobbly and wobbly like a ghost, just how I want it. There we go. So I'm going to take the detail down. There we go, because it got a little bit crazy. So let's go ahead and go there. Great. So that's got some really cool stuff happening.
We're feeling some goosebump vibes right there, man.
100%. Yes. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to fill this with a gradient and see what happens, and then do it at a 90 degree because I want it going vertical. There we go. And this is exactly what I want, is I want it to have the kind of fade away at the bottom. Because when I start adding more effects, it's going to kind of create that ghostly effect.
I love the little goblet under the U in Hunters.
I do too. Yes,
that's got to be a pull away icon or something kind of cool.
Absolutely. So from here, I'm actually just going to trace this out and see what happens. So a lot of my work, I like to be kind of gritty and crazy. And so I use auto trace a lot. So we're going to go ahead and rasterize this down. There we go. And then I'm going to come here and into image trace. I have a preset that's just halftone. That's super, super detailed. So I'll actually show you the settings for this right now and kill some of my time. Here are all my settings. If you want to go back, you can screenshot these right here. It's just threshold is the thickness. It's getting almost all of the details, tiny bits of noise, and then fill strokes. All that stuff is going good. So we're going to chunk this down a bit. See if we can really get, yes. Nice. So that's what I want. Increase that threshold and get that super like chunk in there, which I think is really, really cool. And from here, let's start playing around with some more elements. So we're gonna make a copy of this, and this is definitely gonna start to kill my computer really soon here because there's a million anchor points. Is I wanna play around with it kind of stacking here, to see if I can get some kind of like continued vibe of these letters kind of like just going into each other.
And isn't it neat? Most of what you're doing, Andrew, is all like experimenting with every tool, every adjustment, and it's happening like live. Like, you know, that's the beauty of like just experimenting and playing in Illustrator sometimes and not even trying to do something.
Exactly. So I just flipped it upside down, and I think that that is actually freaking awesome. So we're going to play around with that. I'm going to grab that goblet because that shape is really cool.
Yeah, good.
I'm glad that you pointed that out because I would not have thought about it.
It's amazing. It's like this, just love it. It's perfect for the theme. Very cool.
All right, so we're going to grab this goblet out of here, pull it, and there we go. All right, so we're going to drop this goblet in here. And this is always a problem with my process, is that we have this goblet now. Great. Guess what? I forgot to do this effect to like literally all of it. What's great is now that I've done this, I can come over here, and because I made a copy of it, I can say this is a graphic style.
Yes.
And it's going to come over here and check this out. Boom. Graphic style. So it's, oh, that looks so cool.
Ooh.
That looks
really nice.
So cool. All right, cool. So that's great.
That's
we're going
awesome.
to fill it with our gradient that we had.
They're getting worried about your computer right now.
Oh, don't worry. Yes, rip. Yeah.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Rest in peace, my computer. So I'm gonna go ahead and again rasterize this. I'm going to merge it way down. I'm gonna do my little halftone pattern, and it will chunk that out for me. There we go. And we're gonna do this again, super, super thick on that. There we go. That looks great. So I'll expand that out. Sweet. So we've got this little thing going here. I'm actually going to shrink this down. And Nyx has ambulances attacking him.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. All right, so let's go ahead and drop this on black because it needs to be on black because this is really cool. And I'm also going to do one more thing because I think I want to have some kind of like target on there.
Okay.
So, and yeah, I love that the process here, and we'll talk about it in a minute here. The process ends up being like play until you find something.
Yeah.
So we have this cool Ghost Hunters here. I also am going to play around one more time with creating some kind of craziness. Let's do, what colors do we think of when we think of ghosts?
Ooh. Should
I
we
think
do
of
the
like,
obvious or should we do something totally different?
I like a green. I almost think
I love that.
like a
Yeah.
green and purple.
Like slime green.
Yep. And what's
Yep.
cool is with this, I can actually flip and augment the gradient, and it's going to give me different things here. What is it? Reflections.
Cool.
So we'll go object, we'll rasterize, and I can feel my computer, like the heat
Ooh,
is.
the fan came on. Did
Oh,
the
the
fan
fan.
came on?
That fan is on. That fan is on. So I'm
I
gonna
love
do
it.
another version of this, but just a bit lighter.
Lime green. Yeah, we're feeling that.
There we
That's gonna
go.
look
And
good.
this is where I want to get almost that like ectoplasm slime.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do this in like a purple. And I very rarely use Adobe colors for actual things. I'm terrible with color,
Sure.
and I want everything to be just black and white.
Yep.
And so let's go ahead and do a green on here. Let's do like a super neon green. What did it do there? Why is it doing that? There we go. Green. Got it. All right. All right. Hot neon green. Yes.
Nice.
And
Now
let's
we're
go ahead.
totally goosebumps.
Oh my gosh, like the most it possibly could be.
I must credit William for coming up with that crap, that comment. Sorry about that, bro.
That. And let's go ahead and just make sure these align. And look at all of these anchor points.
Oh, dude.
What am I doing? All right, so we're gonna line these up right here, and then this we're gonna make sure lines up over here.
I think you got about 4 minutes.
4 minutes. All right. Yes.
Yeah, 3 minutes.
Save
now.
before you
Save?
lose your
Oh, I
work.
know.
False. I shall not. I will not. I refuse.
He loves it when it crashes, so he can rebuild it again.
Yeah, this is actually a part of the brand. A part of the brand is that at any point your brand may just disappear.
They pay for that.
So yeah, they pay big bucks for that. All right.
Yep.
So we got this in there.
Love
Nice.
the overlaps. I
Yep,
love the like the randomness of things intersecting is always cool to see what happens naturally.
Yes.
You know, you can't plan for that stuff.
Yep.
It's really awesome.
And then I'm gonna do another goblet here, just so we have upside down. Oh, let's actually flip the logo, so that there's like a, so the overlaps become like both of the names kind of just over each other. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's a really cool texture. Sweet. And then one more time, let's do it on black and white. But this time we're
Cody's
gonna do.
saying it disappears like a ghost. Yeah.
It does. Ooh, haunting.
The
Let's
brand goes
do
ghost.
this real quick. And what I love to do if you're putting things on a color is to drop whatever is the like most dominant into white and then multiply a color on top of it.
Yeah.
So I made a mistake and ungrouped things, but thankfully I can group it all and then go in here and select all of the things on that color using Y. Let's make this white.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. All right, that's fine. We got it. We got it. We are golden. All right, so let's drop this out. There we go. Our goblet back here needs to go to white. I think it's still multiplied, so let's unmultiply it. There we go. All right, Ghost Hunters in purple. That looks freaking great.
There you go.
All right, so we got weird, yes, it's crazy. Cool. So I think we got it.
Cool.
We got black and white. We got regular. We got all three versions here. There it is, everyone. There's the Ghost Hunters logo. I would have loved to do some kind of target in there, but I do like that the hourglass is like implying that like, ooh, time's running out or like whatever. And yes, clients in the elevator. I love that. That's 100% what the show is. Cool. So that's my time. Let's put them side by side and show
Go for it, man.
kind of the two. Mine is above me. Nick's, yours is above you. And Nick, let's start with you. Actually, let's like take a breath because that was insane.
Whew, I know you need a breath. I've been relaxing for 20 minutes.
Yes, I know. And chat, thank you so much for your suggestions today. Because,
I know. I hope you guys enjoyed that live demo. That was actually, now I know what my students feel like when I put them through 30-minute drills. So, but this is really where you gain skills that will sharpen you when you're not timed, right?
Yep.
Like that's the coolest part.
Yep.
Very cool.
So Nick, let's talk a little bit about what your experience was, what your process was. We've got about 15 minutes left, so
Yeah.
let's just
Yeah.
break
So
down and talk about this.
I gotta admit, sometimes when you're rushed, I think the idea comes to your mind and your that concept almost immediately if you've done this enough. So that's why more practice the better. I definitely wanted something retro vibe, clean, scalable. Even though a lot of times these ornate kind of brands could be a little bit risky when you drop them down to something really small. Is it scalable? Can it work in one color? I always think about it that way. So start with black first, then start applying some of the colors. I think it's just a matter of taste. Like someone once said that, like, it's so hard to teach taste, but I think the only way you get it is by doing these drills, doing these things fast, seeing, having people comment, what, this is great. Like, I wonder too, like, I would encourage you guys to do it with your friends, get on Zoom. I know my students were doing that for a while where they were doing these live ones and they would share it with each other. Cause sometimes you need to hear other people's perspective. You might be too in your own bubble,
Yep. Yep.
So
And
yeah.
chat, if you have questions for us, this is the time to drop in
Oh,
questions of something you
excellent.
saw or
Yeah.
something like a decision that we made. Um, and so talking through, I think it's interesting too that we both did the exact same thing, right? That in our brains, we had things that we had done before. We had things that were fonts that we liked to use that were
Yep.
associated to emotions, that were associated to stories. And we knew how to tell those stories very quickly. And we could have expounded on those stories. I could have spent a lot more time kind of creating the story and making sure that it's through. But being able to take those elements and shift and twist them to where we need to go, I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
And so this is, hold on, let me pull this up. So this isn't just to like plug and whatever. I talked about it earlier. I used this technique to create a piece a minute ago. Before the stream, but I want to show you kind of the difference in having those pieces and the way that you can put them together. So let me go over to mine. So this is the piece that I just made when I was experimenting this morning with the same technique of doing the chrome with the plastic wrap. Completely different vibe, completely different look, but it is the elements like existed in my creative pantry, in my brain of how I design, and I was able to put those together in a very kind of fancy dish, and then today flip back over and be like, cool, I need to make something in the microwave. Boom, I know how to use those techniques. I can parse them down to the something very, very quick and efficient.
Excellent. Yeah, I love that idea that you've done it already. You put it away on the shelf when you need to grab it. Again, too, these can be assets that you're building. Do you keep like a few AI files with all those like kind of pre-made things, or maybe you do it in libraries or in your Creative Cloud that you can pull from
Sometimes
quickly?
I
Yeah.
have some brushes that I use and then some graphic styles that I keep, but usually
Yeah.
I just kind of go with it.
I like kind of the idea of having things quick and on the fly, but also too, you're right. Sometimes you just want to like start from scratch every once in a while too and do something really fun.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
William Blanco, this is a great question for you,
Yeah.
Nick, is would you ever do this process in front of a client, or is that a mistake, and why?
Ooh, yeah, gosh, I've been very selective. The one or two clients that I know well enough that I can do this with that won't take advantage of it. I think just, we were talking about this earlier today in an interview we did where before desktop publishing, no one was over the shoulder of anyone, right? It's because the way graphic design used to be done traditionally, there wasn't really anything to watch. It took too long. Now it's so fast. So I just don't like that over the shoulder kind of thing. If I am talking with a client and we have one small change to make, and I know if I show it to them live, it will probably save me 3 hours down the road, and I can put something to bed with that client and be like, we're done. It's out the door, ready for print. Then I'll do it, but not in the first few stages. Never.
Yep. Great question from Elizabeth Mock. What's the longest time it's taking you to make a logo for a brand? How about the shortest time?
Shortest, probably an hour and a half. Honestly, like there's been times where it was like needed that quickly for something. The longest, 3 months. 4
Yeah.
months.
Yep. I'd say my
Depends.
shortest was probably like 15 minutes. I like had an idea and I was like, shoot, this is a great idea. And then I spent like 2 months trying to sell them on that idea.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times just trying to sell them on the idea. The longest, probably, I'm in like a 4-month project right now, but that's more of like big branding. The logo probably took me a month to 2 months maybe. It's on my Behance actually, so I could look and see what the hours are. But yeah, it takes a
Yeah.
little bit of time sometimes. And then
Yeah.
at times I'm like, cool, the concept is here. Here's how we communicate that. This is it. And we're done.
Yeah. I like this question too. Do you think that typography-based logo marks are more in trend these days as compared to an icon-based logo mark? I don't feel like trends should push you in any direction. Again, it's always about the brand itself. If a
Yes.
brand can live with something as simple as just the text thing, it better have some personality and something that sets it apart. I think the icon is always a great example to have flexibility, because I like to build logo systems, not just a logo, right? I think
Yes.
you feel the same way. I want to have like 6 options that we can use for additional applications down the road. What do you think?
I agree. Yeah, I think type is great, and I love doing type-based logo marks.
Mm-hmm.
I would do that for pretty much everything if I could.
Yeah.
Um, but I also think that it needs to be intentional. I think if that's the best way to communicate what the brand values are in the story, then
Yes.
I think that that's what it should be. I think I'm strong at that, at communicating through type, and so I tend to lean toward that.
Yes.
But I don't think that the trend should be followed just because it's the trend. It could be, I mean, it depends on what it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, gosh, man, I think the more you can do to be flexible and kind of keep the client, I'm all about those robust kind of things and helping younger designers to understand how they can get more for a logo job. So that's why I'd say push the multiple applications and the system. That just, they love that. They really do.
Yep,
You
they
know?
really, really do. I also
Yeah.
like that as we're talking, both of us are like secretly still working on our pieces.
Exactly. Well, I just want to show you too, like this is like what you could do for a system in a way where I can have all these different things in a way where I can have it without the box. I can have it as just pops. I can have just this icon. I can do pops luxury as a second, as a whole other, fifth one. Whoops. So you have these, if you build them almost in a way where they're construction based and you can pull them apart and use these things separately, it's great, you know?
Yep, totally. And yeah, same thing. I'm doing the same thing over here. That like the logo word mark, we can offset, we can start playing with different colors. It can be any orientation, any way that we want it to be. It's all
Exactly.
about that the brand is not necessarily the logo or the thing that you're looking at. It's the way that it makes you feel. And
Yes.
using these different elements are making you feel certain ways. And so
Yeah.
it's like cool. The ooziness is what we want them to feel. The kind of weird wonkiness is what we want them to feel, and we can do all of that in whatever way that we need to.
Yeah.
How many versions of a design will you typically show a client, Nick?
I'm down to 2 now. Like and I know where you're incredibly confident number one. Like I think you're
I'm
down
a
to 1, aren't
I'm
you?
a one guy. I'm a one guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
I still, ooh, yeah, I just haven't that boldness. I kind of like appreciate that you do that, and I know a lot of other designers that do. I've narrowed it down. I used to be, sometimes I'd have as many as 5 to 6,
Woo.
and you're like, and it once I realized that that means I am unfocused and I'm giving them too much. We got those Frankenstein logos, and that's where you're taking bits and pieces of those 8, and you're giving the client the opportunity to make this Frankenstein one that is so unfocused. So going from that to 2 is a big leap for me, and I will only show them those 2. Either one of them, I will be 100% on board. I wouldn't show you something unless it's a complete rock star.
Yep. Absolutely. I basically I take them through the process with me so closely that by the
Exactly.
end I'm not going to show you options. I'll show you concepts as we go, and it's like, is this
Mm-hmm.
emotion vibing with you? Is this journey kind of like, are
That's
these
cool.
shapes? Is it colors?
Yeah.
Whatever. And by the time we get to like, here's the presentation, like we should know that like, oh, of course we're going to say yes because we already know what's coming. I'm
Yeah.
basically just building the answer key with them, and so I don't present. I'll present multiple concepts for like directions and inspirations and sketches and stuff, but not for final presentations.
That's a great one, because you're right. If you've held their hand through the whole thing and you've done all that research behind it, there's probably only a very few options that will really, really work,
Yep.
right? Like there's not 8 options for this. And I learned the hard way, but I think, again, people are being transparent with this the same way we try to be here with our kind of like this idea of how many, what do we do, how much do we charge? So the more you hear from other people, I think it gives you the confidence, you
Yep.
know?
I totally
Yeah.
agree.
What other questions do you guys have?
I love that this show turns into the end like the chat just going off. They're like, hold on, we got things to say. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, say those things to us. We're here. We'll be answering your
Mhm.
questions as well as continuing to work on our pieces because they're kind of interesting as we go. Try to get a
Try.
boo hidden in there. Oh, I'm still working on my piece. Sorry, Nick.
Oh, that's a good idea. A little subliminal boo,
A
kind
little
of in the, maybe it's
subliminal.
in the reflection, or yeah,
Oh,
a
it'd
little
be really
Easter
cool to
egg.
have a subliminal message.
Subliminal. Oh, there you go.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, put
Any
it
tips on
together.
how to convince a client upon a very unusual idea, but might be a big leap for them in terms of style they had in the past?
Ooh,
This is literally my life.
a little, yeah. How do you do it? What do you
Um,
do? Because I
I
think we all
yes,
have a little
I build
secret weapon behind
trust.
you.
Yeah, I build trust and I tell story. So I get them on
Go.
board with what the story is. I help them understand the why, and then the how kind of just goes away. So they
Mm-hmm.
they stop to worry about like how are we gonna do this? How are we gonna do this? What's it gonna look like? Because they're like, oh, why we're doing this is so important, and we have the why so concrete that we can get a little crazy. And so I'll usually present something that's like totally insane and then scale it back to something that is like less crazy,
Yeah.
if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So like I would do I would my of this concept that I just did, right? It's a little crazy, obviously. But what I would do is I would totally present a concept that is like this. And I'm just going to do it real quick so you guys can see. Like I would do a concept that was a blend that would blend these together.
Okay.
And then maybe even one of these, like they'd just get outlined and I'd grab some anchor points and pull them out this way. And so I would do something totally insane. So when they saw my other idea in contrast, they would be like, okay,
Yeah.
that's not so crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've had a few times where I was able to, I saw an agency that we was pitching at an old company I worked for, and they had this concept where they showed what was expected, and then the last page they had this out of the box thing, and it had a really cool stamp on it that was like, I think it even said like blue sky idea, option. And
Yep.
they said, we just want to show you the creativity above and beyond. Like, this is kind of above and beyond the brief, and we just like to throw this out there. And they were very smart. They even said if this idea was chosen, that they actually were tacking on some licensing fee in addition to it, to the design fee, which I thought was very smart. So there's a way to say, like, if you're going to put that extra effort in there, then you'll be paid for it. It's an option to them or not, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, I mean, it depends. It's finding that, does it still tell the story, and how much can you get it to tell that story while still being different and progressive and kind of weird. I'm doing another version of this Ghost Hunters. So like that crazy one that I
Nice.
still
Yeah.
did, right? Like this is still readable. It's still able to be understood. It's not legible 0%, but it's definitely like readable. And so it's like, cool, you can still read it. And we're trying to get people to understand the emotion. When it's used, it will be next to a website. It will be next to a picture, and try to sell them on like, it's not all about the logo. It's about how it's going to make your audience feel. And so you
Yes.
want to really sell that.
Definitely good.
All
Definitely
right,
good.
let's talk a little bit. Go ahead.
You take it away.
Okay, cool. So I was gonna say, let's go ahead and wrap up here and talk about how you guys can get involved. Again, down here, bit.ly/Adobe Office Hours. That's where you can get all the information for the class, to get our syllabus, to get the past week's assignments. There are some great tools and helpful things in there for you. There's nothing in there for today because your homework is, Nick, what's their homework?
So you're going to take 30 minutes, set your timer, and find some kind of a creative challenge to do. I've got a few ideas for you. You can find a local business around your town that might need a little bit of a refresh in their branding. Try it for 30 minutes. Obviously, too, show it to them if you want to get some new business. Maybe redesign a popular mobile app. You know, the little kind of app button on our screens. If there's an app you use that kind of looks like it needs a refresh, great idea to do. Also, too, one of my favorite things to do is give students a really terribly designed business card, and give yourself 30 minutes to not only redesign maybe and refresh the logo, but just a cleaner layout and something really legible and communicative.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. There's
So
so much you can do.
that's your homework for today. Playing around with that, and then we want you to post it right here at bit.ly/falsamaster-al. That's where you can do it. Just do it in the homework tab, and we'll take a look at those. And we'll be
Yeah.
back again next week, same place, same time, for Adobe Office Hours. And make sure that you all go and register for Adobe
Adobe
Max.
Max. There you go.
Nick, is there anything special happening at Adobe
Not
Max?
too much, but Office Hours is gonna be live. We're like kind of the one of the only bits and pieces that are really live. It's so awesome.
Yep.
So
So
we have a 2-day event. We'll be doing Office Hours there live, and you can find Andrew and I sprinkle around a lot of other stuff on those 3 days as well.
yep, yeah. So go and sign up for Max. It's free for everyone. Register, add us to your catalog, and you can join us for building a great portfolio in the Max Chats section. Nick, I believe, is hosting some other. What else are you hosting, Nick?
We're hosting another 2D, 3D thing with Arrow and Dimension on one of the days. And then we're also doing a bit of stuff on the Education Day, I believe. That's more info to come on that.
Yep, more's coming on Education Day. A lot for you guys who watch this show, probably. And then I am also going to be doing a first takes from the community on Illustrator. There's some really, really cool things coming in the pipeline that I can't wait to show you with my friend
Ooh.
Julia. So
Good
big
for you,
secrets.
man.
It's going to be so much fun. Come and join
Yeah.
us for that as well. And we will see you next week for Adobe Office Hours. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Oh, you know what? Here's what's going to happen, guys. I don't have my outro holding slide. So like we're just gonna pretend like it's
We're
like
fading
we're just
out.
yeah, we'll just fade into the background, and I'm just gonna slowly turn off the different cameras. All right, everybody, we'll see you next week. And this goes, and then Nick disappears, and then I disappear.